on with the kitchen fork. And today we're going to take a look at how to make homemade Manicotti, better known in the American language as Manicotti. Now most people think that taking time to make a homemade Italian meal is going to take hours and you're going to have to slave all day. But really, this is a 25-minute prep, 25 minutes in the oven, and you've got a homemade meal for your family and your guests. We are going to start with the crepes. 4 ingredients very quickly. 1 cup of water mixed with 1 egg, mixed with a dash of salt, and we want to whisk this a little bit before we add 1 cup of flour. And that's the extent of what a homemade crepe is. The recipes will vary a little bit depending upon where in Italy you're from, but this is a very basic crepe, and all we're going to do is whisk this. Don't even need to have an electric mixer. And it's going to make a very smooth, very thin crepe. This is not pancake batter, so it's not going to be thick. And I've taken out an electric fry pan today. If you don't have an electric fry pan, you can simply take a skillet and put it on a very low heat on an electric oven or a gas stove. Now I need to grease gently over the top of my fry pan so that my crepes don't stick. And once I've done that, and again my crepes are ready in just a matter of 20 seconds of whisking them, I'm going to take a tablespoon and I'm going to take them and I'm going to start to pour. And I'm actually going to make 3 at a time, and that's one of the reasons why it doesn't take a whole lot of time. And I'm taking basically 2 tablespoons at a time. And once I've put the batter in, I need to smooth it out. I need to make a larger crepe, or I won't be able to roll my cheese in. And so I'm just going to smooth these out. And sometimes you'll get a little tear, and you can fix the tear just by putting a drop more batter right on top. So I'm smoothing these out so that I can roll them. This one's slightly uneven. None of these are going to be a perfect shape. They're homemade. So don't worry about them being perfect. They will taste perfect, but they're not going to be perfect. And I'm going to let these cook until they start getting so they look just a little bit wet. And then I'm going to flip them. Now, you probably want to use just some kind of spatula to flip it over. I've been doing it such a long time that I generally use my fingers because I can flip them a lot faster and work with them a lot faster if I do that. But until you get used to the heat and the consistency of the crepe, you probably just want to use a flipper. And we're going to let these cook just for a few more seconds. They're going to cook 25 minutes in the oven, and you want your crepes to be nice and soft. And so when I get done, I have a very soft, lovely crepe that is ready to be filled. We're going to make 1 more round of these, and then I'm going to show you how to put the ricotta cheese filling together. And again, you're just going to roll these out quickly, fill them in. Not a difficult process. And the 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of water, 1 egg, and a dash of salt, and if you want to measure that, it can be a half a teaspoon of salt, will make about 20 crepes, which is good for 3 folks, about 3 people. You can then increase just by half. Add 1 more egg, half cup flour, and a half cup water, and you'll have a perfect dinner for 4. And again, the crepes, nice and light, different sizes, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to pull them out and give them just a minute to cool before I wrap them. Now the nice thing about the crepes is that you can do them the day before and just put them in the refrigerator and fill them right before you're ready to pop them into the oven. Okay, crepes done, it's time to mix cheese. And I use just a regular ricotta cheese. And let me just grab a fresh spoon. regular ricotta cheese, and I put in 1 egg, 2.5 tablespoons of fresh cut parsley, 2/3 of a cup of Romano cheese. Now, a lot of folks like Parmigiano, but I'm Sicilian and I was raised with Romano. And so I enjoy the flavor of Romano. And then we're just going to stir this together. And once we get this put together, you want it to be, you don't want to use an electric beater because you don't want it to be too creamy. You actually want a little bit of coarseness running through the cheese. And that's what the grated Romano will give you. Once we've got this just about together, we want to add one more ingredient that's going to give it a kick. And that really does separate it from something that you might get at a local restaurant, from something that's truly a Sicilian dish that I grew up with. And that is, we're going to add a hint of cinnamon. And we're just going to sprinkle the cinnamon over a little bit so that it looks like this. And we're going to turn it in. We're just going to fold it in a little bit. And this is our filling for our homemade crepes. Now, I usually use, about a couple of teaspoons when I'm rolling the crepes, depending on the size of the crepe, so that when you roll it, there's a little bit of crepe on each end. You don't want them to spill over when they are in the oven, and the crepes will swell. Now, I'm going to take a glass dish, usually rectangular because they need to fit the long way, and I usually use a little bit of sauce on the bottom. And I'm just going to run it down because what I want to do is prevent them from sticking. And then I'm simply going to take my cheese, set it on the crepe, roll the crepe, and set it inside the sauce. Not difficult. Your prep time on this, like I said, is really about 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes. And I roll the crepes. Again, unconcerned about the unevenness of the crepes. I'm sure that there are some Italians out there that would make them all exactly the same size. But I don't stand on ceremony. So, believe me, the taste will compensate for the fact that not every one of these is the same size. And then, of course, when I get done with this, I'm going to cover them again with sauce and put them in the oven. I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil. When I get them all done, and then I'm going to put it in the oven at 350 degrees for 25 minutes. And you're going to know when these are ready because they're going to puff up and they're going to look delicious. And here we have the completed Manicotti. And what we're going to do now is just set it up for your guests with a little bit of extra sauce, a little sprinkling of cheese on top. Definitely want to add a tad more sauce on top, just so that they're a little bit moist. We're going to add a little bit of Romano cheese. And then, of course, you've got to garnish with a tad of Italian bread. And a very delicate side salad. And our salad is simply a mix of Italian and a few tomatoes and a little bit of pepper, and you've got a homemade Italian dinner in, again, 25 minutes. Thanks for visiting with the Kitchen Fork.